Nuts and bolts with Tone here, guys. Are you thinking about becoming a mechanic? Not quite sure how to get started? Well, I'm gonna help you with that. I have come up with a list for $1,500 to get you a really nice tool cart and a wide variety of tools to get you going in your career as a mechanic, where you're gonna start out doing an oil change, maybe a water pump, doing some brakes. So let's get started. All right, to get started, we're gonna need a platform to start with. So this 30-inch 5-drawer mechanics cart from US General is probably about your best bet. Now, if you wanted to spend a little bit more money, you can get a bigger box. I think for about $300, you can get one that where the drawers go all the way down, and there's no open space. I believe it's a little bit smaller than 30 inches, but it has a lot more storage. That would last you longer, but we're trying to get started. Let's go ahead and take a look at this cart firsthand. Let's go into to Harbor Freight, and let's take a look. So here's what it looks like up close and personal. We got a little tray on the side there to hold your WD-40 and your brake lube. Now the two smaller drawers on top, the lock is on the left side, and they're smaller. The one to the right of that is one larger drawer, which is the same size as the two. Then we have the two drawers on the bottom where the lock is on the right. Then we have a nice tray underneath. You could put impacts, you could put whatever it is you want to put under there. Now the gray one is $269. Now the red one's cheaper, the orange one is cheaper, and I believe the yellow one is cheaper. So it's got a nice handle for the lid. My Sunex Tools doesn't even have a handle like that. Two nice shocks to allow for easy open and close. And here's all the colors: red, black, blue, green, orange, yellow, white, and gray. And like I said, some of them are different prices. And here's the top. So you have a section down each side where it has holes for your pry bars or your screwdrivers. And then we have the whole center for your sockets and everything. Nice hood shock. So for $270, we're going to call that our starting platform. Now, the first thing we're going to need is a flashlight. You're going to need a flashlight to get started. And I searched high and low, and the best flashlight I could find for the price, the quality, the brand, and the lumens is this Coast XP9R. Now this is $50, and it is a 1,000 lumen flashlight. So pretty good flashlight. Coast makes great lights. They're going to have a pretty good warranty. So that's going to be our light. That's how we're going to be able to. Now we're going to need some sockets and ratchets. So let's start off with these ratchets right here. I wish I was at my toolbox at work so I could show you. I have these 3 ratchets at work. They are fantastic. That's going to give you a 1/4 drive, a 3/8 drive, and a 1/2 inch. Now these are 90 tooth ratchets. Most people are not going to start off in this industry with a 90 tooth ratchet. Nevertheless, a 1/2 inch ratchet. So here we are, 3-piece, 90-degree ratchet from Capri Tools. Capri Tools has a great warranty, and let me tell you, these handles, they are fantastic. I have this 3 set, and I have the extra long set. Super comfortable. I love it. Now we're going to start off with 1/4 drive. You're going to need some 1/4 drive sockets. Now these are 6-point sockets. Now if you're new, you're going to understand that a 6-point socket looks like this, where you have 6 points. It looks like what a normal fastener looks like. It has 6 points. Now some fasteners you'll come across have 12 points, but you're not going to be coming across 12-point fasteners in the beginning, and 12-point they're not as good. A 6-point socket and wrench is stronger than a 12-point. So this is going to be $40, and they are Capri Tools. This is going to go from 4mm all the way to 14mm. You're going to get a shallow and deep sockets. Can't go wrong. Capri Tools warranty is, you contact them, they're going to have you probably send a picture of the socket, the part number, and they will send you a new one out. You don't even have to send it in. Now you're going to be using the 3H drive the most. So we got this set. It's 8 to 22 millimeter, 6-point Capri Tools sockets. We're just going to keep it the same. This is going to be shallow drive and deep sockets. And these are chrome sockets. These are not impacts. You're not going to be using impact sockets in the beginning, except for half-inch stuff. Now this is $75.20, so $75 on Amazon, and Capri Tools, same warranty, no matter where you get it from. Now I only average this out for a half-inch drive deep set. Now I did this because you're going to also need lug nuts to take off wheels. And that can be a 14 millimeter, it could be a 17, could be a 19, 21, 22. So I figured this would cover your lug nut sockets as well as get you started with a really good set of deep sockets. Now these are impact sockets. We're going to go 10 to 27 milli, and that is going to be $80. 6-point sockets as well. We're going to keep it even along the board, and that is Capri Tools as well. Same warranty applies as all the sockets. All right, so you're going to need something to put your sockets in. So the best thing I could find was this Harbor Freight 3-piece set. This comes with a half-inch, 3/8, and quarter. Now, it's not going to cover everything. Let's see. So it looks like it goes up to 15 millimeter. And then I can't quite tell how low it goes. So some of the sockets sets, they're not all going to fit in here. So you may have some strays. We can't have it all right now in the beginning. You're just trying to get a basic box set up to get going. Now this is $25 for a 3-piece set from Harbor Freight. Now Harbor Freight a lot of times has deals and on deals and discounts and things like that. So you can usually get things a little bit cheaper. Now this was a big, I searched high and low to find the best wrench set I could find to get you started. Now this is not the end all be all wrench set. This is just to get you going. This goes from 6 millimeter all the way to 19 millimeter, and it is Sunex Tools. Sunex Tools has a great warranty. I've never warrantied a wrench. However, it's not likely you're going to break a wrench. Now, I have warranted sockets with Sunex Tools, and the way the socket warranty goes is you contact them and you're going to send them a picture of your socket and the part number and your information, and they'll send you a new one back. So this is $40 for a 6 through 19 piece wrench set. Now this is just to get you going. Now I started most of my tools, most of my small tools, pliers, screwdrivers, things like that, wrenches, they were all from, not wrenches, but they were all from Craftsman back in the day. Now Craftsman is the equivalent of what Harbor Freight is today. So now what you're going to get here is you're going to get a really nice Phillips and flathead set. Now it's even going to come with this wrench right here. Now this may look useless, but in the beginning you're not going to have a Phillips head that has a very low profile. And so I had a lot of times in my early career when I had to use this wrench right here and just barely turn it and then barely turn it. You're taking out an actuator on a blend door or something like that where you don't have a lot of room. So that's going to benefit you right there. So now this is $11 for a Pittsburgh 22-piece screwdriver set. Now this was another area where I searched high and low to find the best all-around set of wrenches. Now this is Quinn. It's from Harbor Freight. I'm not quite sure what the difference is between Quinn and Harbor Freight is. I know I just recently went in there and I looked at some socket sets that they had that came with ratchets. And the Quinn ratchets were normal. When you turned the pawl to the left, it was on, it was in tighten. And when you turn it to the right, it was loosen. Now the Harbor Freight was the opposite. You turn it to the left, which is off, and it's to loosen. Turn it to the right, and it's on to tighten it. Now that's a pain in the butt, but we're not talking about ratchets right now. I only like those kind of ratchets from Koken Tools. Not something you'd be looking at right now because they're expensive, but they are very high quality. Now with this, you're going to get a small pair of channel locks. You're going to get some very strong pliers. You're going to get a set of needle nose pliers and a pair of cutters for 25 bucks. And this is from Harbor Freight. Now these are not sale prices. These are everyday prices. The next up, now I originally started with like a 5-piece hammer set, and to be honest, maybe I should have done that, the 5-piece hammer set, because that's the same set that they had when I started. And you know, we ended up this with a little bit to play with, so I probably could have went with the $20 set, but you really are only going to need 2 hammers to start off with. One, you're going to need a steel hammer, and that is $5 from Harbor Freight. It's a 16-ounce hammer. And the next hammer, and this is a dead blow hammer. Now this is where you don't want it to mar up anything. Let's say you're hitting a brake rotor trying to loosen up something. You don't want to damage the rotor, and if you hit it with a metal hammer, you're going to damage the rotor. So this is a dead blow hammer, a 4-pound Pittsburgh dead blow hammer, and this is $13 from Harbor Freight. Now they make many different sizes of the dead blow hammers, and the 4-pound is going to get you what you need. You don't need anything giant. You don't need anything small. We're just getting started. Now this was from Titan Tools. Now Titan Tools actually has a lot of really cool stuff. I went by their booth at SEMA, and they have a lot of really cool tools. Now this is a adapter set. So this one here is going to be a 1/4 drive to 3/8 drive socket. So let's say you need a small area, you're going to use a 1/4 inch ratchet and a 3/8 drive. Or let's say you have something that's the opposite, where you have a 3/8 drive and a 1/4 socket. And it goes to half, and then it has these universals. It has 1/4, 3/8, and half. And that is $13.20. And that's at JB Tools. The next up, now this is going to be for if you're popping out a radio, you're popping off a door panel, things like that where you don't want to damage it. You can get all kinds of sets of these, but this was the best deal. This was $8.50, and this is a 4-piece trim tool set. It's really like an 8-piece set because you have two different ends. So you have 2 on this one, 2 on this one, so 8 total. I have this set. I have many sets of trim tools, but I personally have this set. And there's a blue set from Harbor Freight that has more pieces. But this was the best one just to get you going. So let's say you're going to be doing a valve cover or something like that. I actually have this. I just did a video not that long ago of a 3.6 liter head gasket job, and I showed this torque wrench in use. I did all the valve covers and the intake manifold and everything with this torque wrench. So this is really new. This is Capri Tools mini torque wrench, and it is 30 to 140 inch-pounds. This is going to work well, and this is $100. And again, this is from Capri Tools. Can't go wrong with Capri Tools. So that's going to get you done there. Now you're going to need a torque wrench for lug nuts. Now this will also work for other stuff because it is a 1/2 inch drive torque wrench. Now this is 40 to 250 foot-pounds. And now this is a split beam torque wrench. So what this means is you are going to have this little lever here. And you're going to pop that little lever down, which locks it in place. You're going to have a little knob. You're going to turn the knob, and you're going to set it to whatever foot-pound torque you want. You're going to flip the lever up, which is going to lock it in place. Now, what I like about a split beam torque wrench is torque wrenches, let's say like the Capri Tools mini one, that is the lowest setting is 40 inch-pounds. Now, to keep a torque wrench calibrated, the best way to keep it calibrated is when not in use, you want to zero it to its lowest setting. Now, this is actually very confusing for a lot of people. A lot of people think you bottom the wrench out, the torque wrench out all the way to the bottom. This is not correct. What you do is you spin the wheel until you lower it to its lowest setting. So this torque wrench, you're going to lower it back down to 30 inch-pounds when you're done and leave it at 30. Then when you use it, up to 120, back to 30 when you're done. A split beam, you do not have to change it. A split beam does not lose its torque. You leave it wherever it's set. So let's say you work on nothing but Hondas. You're going to have 80 foot-pounds. You can leave it set at 80. You work on Chryslers. It's going to be 100 foot-pounds. You're going to leave it at 100. So it doesn't matter where you leave it. Now, this is an Icon torque wrench from Harbor Freight. So it's their higher quality brand of tools. Obviously, it's more expensive. I'm sure you could get, I don't know if they sell a Pittsburgh split beam, but if they did, it would be a lot cheaper than 140. So for 140 bucks, going to get a nice half-inch torque wrench. I wish they had those when I started. I started with a spin wheel, and every time I torqued lug nuts, I had to zero it out, and then back up to 100, 120, 140, and then back down to 60 or whatever its lowest setting was, 40. So anyway, so that's going to be really nice. Now you're going to be doing oil changes. Now this is just to get you started. A lot of newer vehicles have it has a cartridge oil filter, which means that it has a metal cap, and you're going to have a fluted socket, a fluted socket that's going to go on there, and it's going to have a certain one for each specific oil filter. Now, you're not going to have that, and most shops will provide that, especially for the guys doing oil changes, because you're not expected to go out and buy a really expensive set of oil filter caps to do oil changes. So this is just to grab it. It's got 3 positions, so you can get smaller ones and go up to larger ones. Now, I didn't have a set of those for a very long time. Now, this is $5 at Harbor Freight. Now, this is what I started with, and I still use this to this day, but I also have many different, I have 2 different sizes of the plier wrenches. I have a normal size one, and then I have a very large one for doing diesels. So this right here, you're going to put your drive in here, and as you turn it, the jaws are going to lock down on the oil filter, and you're going to turn it. It's going to grab it in 3 places, and then it's going to help break it loose. Now this one is a 3/8 drive, and it comes with an adapter to adapt to 1/2 inch. So let's say your oil filter is on there, was put on by King Kong, it's going to be tight, and a 3/8 drive is not going to cut it. So you're going to get a 1/2 inch ratchet and put it on there and break the oil filter loose. Next up is when you start getting into coolant repairs, or maybe they've got you doing a fuel pump and you got to disconnect the fuel filler hose from the metal pipe. Well, the hoses get stuck on metal pipes, radiators, water pumps, thermostats, things like that. So what you do is you take one of these and you're just going to lube up the end of the pick, and you're going to slide it in between the hose and the thermostat, water pump, radiator, whatever, and you're going to work it around. And now you want to lube it up because it's going to help break that loose. And now this is an Icon set, and it is $60. Next up is you're going to have to be taking off a lot of covers on cars. To do oil changes, a lot of these cars, they have undercovers underneath with all kinds of bolts. Volkswagens have Torx. You're going to have 8 millimeters, 10 millimeters, all different sizes. So what this is this is a 2-piece set, and it has a driver. So you're going to put a little 1/4 inch adapter on there, throw your 8 millimeter quarter socket on there, and take off the undercover or the Torx or whatever it is. Now this is a really cool set because it also is going to get you started with a drill. Now this is Milwaukee, so you'll be able to use these tools for a very long time. I just recently started using Milwaukee, and they're great. They're fantastic. So you're going to get 2 batteries, a charger, a really cool bag. So maybe you're going to go home and do an oil change on your car at home, throw your tools in the bag, and boom, there you go. You got a nice way to transport them. Now this set, Home Depot, $120. Home Depot is the best place to buy Milwaukee tools. Do not buy them off the truck. Don't buy them off the Matco truck or the Cornwell truck. They're going to be a lot more expensive. Now, you'll be able to make interest-free payments, but they're going to be a lot more expensive. Next up is you're going to need an impact to take lug nuts off. Now, don't get sidetracked by all the guys with all their cordless tools and their cordless impacts to take off lug nuts. You do not need that right now. Shops have air hoses, and you're going to hook this up. This is going to take off your lug nuts. Now, this is going to be up to 1,200 foot-pounds. Now, do I think it'll really take off something that's 1,200 foot-pounds tight? Probably not, but it's going to come close. You're going to be able to zap off lug nuts and axle nuts. You know, maybe you start doing axles. You're going to have to take off an axle nut. This is going to take it off. So it's a 1/2-inch drive. This is from Harbor Freight. It is $100. Now, they also have blue, black, green, orange, and yellow. Next up is you're going to need an extension set. Now, you're not going to get an elaborate extension set with a whole bunch of 1/2-inch and 1/2-inch and 3/8 and a quarter. Eventually, you're going to buy a set of quarter and a set of 3/8 and a set of 1/2-inch. But just to get started, this is all you're going to need right here. Now, these are actually really cool because they are wobble extensions. So that means that you can put your socket on here and it can be a wobble. So you can have your socket and it's going to have a little bit of play to it, or you can push it on all the way and it's a regular extension. So kind of cool, kind of get 2-in-1. Now this is $15 for a 9-piece set. Next up, now I don't own this. I have many other brands. I have grip mats. I have Bolster silicone mats. However, we were looking for the best deal and to be able to keep you under $1,500. So I found this. It's just a small silicone mat. It is $9. Now you don't need to get this. This is just to show you what it is you're working on the inside of a car. You set it down. You can put your sockets, your bolts in there, or you're working under the hood. Gives you somewhere to put your sockets, your extensions, your bolts, so they don't get lost. And this is $9 and it's US General and it's at Harbor Freight. Next up, you're gonna need a magnetic tray. Now, originally, all we had was magnetic trays and Tupperware containers. They didn't have the silicone mats 20 years ago, and so I have a whole bunch of mashed potato containers, and I have 4-inch magnetic part holders on all my lift arms. So when I take off lug nuts, I throw all the lug nuts in a magnetic tray. Let's say you're doing an axle. You don't want to lose the parts. Throw this on the lift arm. Throw all your parts in there so you don't lose anything. You don't want to have to go to the boss and say, hey, I lost the axle nut or the tie rod nut or whatever. So for $3, you get you one of those. And they have those on sale. A lot of times you can get them really cheap when they're on sale. Now this is what you're going to need also. Now this is $100 and it's a Quinn Master Torque set. Now this is going to give you your Torx. This is even going to have some hex in it. It's going to have E-Torx. E-Torx looks like a Torx, but it's reverse. And that is a 87-piece set. It's for $100. That's at Harbor Freight. And these are warranted. They're at Harbor Freight. Anything at Harbor Freight is warranted. Next up, you're going to need some Allen sockets. So this is an Aries set. Now I found an Aries set in metric and standard. Now, this is $25 for a 12-piece metric hex set. And this is on Amazon. And Aries has the same warranty. I don't know. I know their lifetime warranty, but I don't know their warranty process. Now this is the SAE set standard, and this is going to be a 12-piece set of standard hex. Just to get you going. Eventually you're going to upgrade. And that's $20 for the standard set. So the next up, you're going to need a little pick set. Now these are cheap. All I had was cheap ones when I started. You're going to try to get a connector disconnected, and the little latch is just not going to quite release. So you just take the pick and you just kind of pick up on it a little bit and the connector will slide off. Or you have a hook, you're trying to grab something, trying to grab a harness, trying to pull it up. Now this is a very small set. It's only $2. It's going to get you going. Now this is a Pittsburgh set at Harbor Freight. We did it under $1,500, a total of $1,463. So to stay under $1,500, if you wanted to go back and make some changes, maybe get a different hammer set, maybe get a better silicone tray, you could do that. Still be under $1,500. So now that you've seen this video, you could take this list of tools and maybe play around with it a little bit. Maybe decide that you don't want to get this, you want to get this. Maybe you want to get a little better of a silicone tray, whatever. But I advise you not to go out and get super high expensive tools, and don't go crazy with the cordless tools unless you're planning on spending more than $1,500. If you are planning on spending more than $1,500, the first thing I would probably recommend is getting the next step up in the Harbor Freight tool cart, which is going to give you more tool storage, which you're going to need. So thanks for watching the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. You get notified of all my future content, which you definitely don't want to miss. Also, drop a comment down below and let me know what your first tool was when you became a mechanic. See you guys next time.